Well, thank you all for joining us here on such short notice. As you know, there has been a major interruption to water service in the west and southwest portions of Davidson County. The map here beside me depicts the neighborhoods and business districts that have been impacted. Essentially, it is the area south of 440 here and between Harding Pike and Interstate 65. 15,242 Metro water service customers are encompassed in this geographic area, and they are either experiencing significantly low water pressure or receiving no water at all at this time. Scott Potter, the Director of Metro Water Services, is here with me, and in just a moment he will share what he knows about the cause of this interruption and the efforts that are being made to fix it, including a temporary solution that will return some water pressure to the area while permanent repairs are being made. I'm also joined by Metro Fire Chief Rick White, who, after Scott, will discuss how we will address fire protection during this water service interruption and plans to offer an emergency water supply to those who are affected. Chief Anderson from the Police Department is also here, and he will speak to enhanced police measures that are being taken. Since this outage has affected such a large part of Davidson County, we have decided to partially activate the Emergency Operations Center starting at 5 p.m. tonight in order to coordinate the work of the various Metro departments involved in addressing this situation. I recognize this is a significant inconvenience to a lot of people in our city, and I assure you that every effort is being made to return water service to normal. Our utmost priority while this situation is being rectified is public safety. Chief Anderson will provide enhanced police coverage, recognizing that homes and businesses may be unoccupied while water service is waiting to be restored. Chief White will position extra fire crews around the city so we are prepared to immediately respond to fire needs due to the lower pressure available in fire hydrants, with extra attention to be paid to high-rises and other multi-residence complexes dependent on sprinkler systems for fire protection. We certainly do not want to cause alarm, but we want residents to know that we are taking this situation very seriously and over-preparing for the public safety needs of our city. I'll now turn the podium over to Scott Potter to talk more about the water supply situation. Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to tell y'all what has happened, what the current situation is, and what we're doing to correct the problem. Like the mayor said, this is the affected area. We're already starting to see a little bit of improvement to the water service availability levels in the area, and that will continue to improve provided everyone cooperates with my request to not irrigate, especially this evening. A lot of folks have automatic sprinkler systems in their yards in this area, so I'm asking everyone to go out and turn them off tonight and leave them off until we get this permanent repair, because we've done some fixes that are temporary in effect that I'll show you in just a minute that will help us recover the system. But if we don't have the irrigation systems turned off, then that will be a problem. I want to show you what the current situation is and why we're in this situation, what happened. This is Thompson Lane Pump Station here. It's beside the Home Depot, the Walmart, the CarMax across from Hunter Oaks Mall. The discharge pipe from that pump station failed. It's a 30-inch pipe, and it broke this morning. And the reason that's significant is this pump station feeds all the blue pump stations you see on the map in the affected area. So since this pump station is affected, all the downstream pump stations don't have water to pump. So that's why we're in this problem. So until we get that pipe fixed, these pump stations will have reduced availability of water to pump to the higher elevated areas. So what we're doing to correct that in the meantime, while we're effecting repair, the permanent repair, here's the location of the break. This green section right here is a temporary pump that we're going to install, and this green area right here is a temporary pump we're going to install. And then these blue dots right here are valves that are opening from this pressure zone to feed the affected area from this side of the city this way. This pump station will feed from this side of the city this way, and this pump station will feed from the north part this way. So we have 3 temporary feeds coming into the affected area. So that reinforces my statement that if people will not irrigate tonight and only use water for cooking, bathing, and drinking, then we should be good to go. I really need everyone's cooperation on that. And then I think we'll be able to stabilize the situation, effect the permanent repair, and get back to normal. I'll now turn it over to Chief White.
Thank you, Scott and Mr. Mayor. The things that we've done from a fire protection standpoint has actually been just to beef up our various locations around the periphery and within the periphery of these affected areas. We have transitioned large engines with large tanks into these areas. Our traditional engine, our usual engine, has 500 gallons of water on board. We have several that have 1,000. We've transitioned those 1,000-gallon pumpers into in these affected locations. We're putting special emphasis, once again, as the mayor said, on the high rises. We've actually got our district chiefs going around to the various high rises affected and letting them know the situation. We're really concerned about any assisted living or senior care facilities, and we're willing to offer a fire watch throughout the PM areas with one of our trained firefighters to be on duty, wide awake and ready to let us know if a fire occurs. In these types of situations, early warning, rapid response, and aggressive entry, that's the keys to saving life, and we're prepared to do that.
As we do every day, all the metro departments, and especially the water department, the fire department, the police department, will be working together tonight. Police department will have extra resources in the area, one, to assist the water department, any needs they may have, and two, to assist the fire department with any resources they may need. Any citizens with any concerns about anything, call 862-8600, and we'll respond to your location, or we'll get you the necessary information. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Anderson, Chief White, and Scott. As I said earlier, we're doing all that we can to address the situation and continue to meet our citizens' public safety and water supply needs in the meantime. We're optimistic that once the temporary fix that Scott described is fully in place sometime tomorrow, that water pressure will be sufficient for people to occupy their homes and for businesses to open. We're not instructing or encouraging any businesses to close. We're now happy to answer questions that you may have.
Chief White, is there a limit of fires that you would feel comfortable you would be able to handle? I mean, obviously you don't want to have to handle any in that area, but if you get 5, is that going to be a problem? If you get 3, can you handle it?
Our local statistics indicate that 90% of our fires are put out with 500 gallons or less of water. The minimum amount of water any engine will send to that scene will have 500 gallons on it, and we're going to boost it up to make sure we got subsequent engines with 1,000 gallons or better on board. And we still do have some water coming out of the hydrants. We have to deal with volume there. We have the capacity to pressurize that water to get it from point A, the hydrant, to point B where the fire occurs.
Mr. Potter, can you explain for citizens why across Davidson County it matters if they don't water their lawn tonight and how everyone is connected?
Okay, well, one thing I need to make clear is if you're not in the yellow area, you're not affected. If you live, let's say, west of Harding, then you're not seeing any kind of interruption to your water service. This is a localized problem due to one specific pump station. So if you live in Jolton, you can water at will because it's not affecting what's happening in this area. We're just asking folks that live in the affected area, generally east of Harding and west of I-65, a little bit of Creve Hall. If you're in that area, don't irrigate tonight. Everyone else is unaffected. And one thing I wanted to point out as well is if people do have a need for bottled water, say they don't have water service at their home, by 5 o'clock this afternoon, there'll be a water distribution site set up at Creve Hall Elementary and Hillsborough High School. So this in case there are citizens who don't have water service. I don't think that's the case right now, but we wanted to make sure that was available. And also there's a number, if you can't get to that location to get bottled water, you can call 862-8750 to talk to someone who can get water to you. So I don't think right now I've got people who are completely out of water, but if I do, please call 862-4600 and let us know. That'll help us understand what's happening in the system. But if you're outside the yellow area, you're not affected.
So a pipe like this is a massive pipe deep under the ground. Is it old? What causes something like this big to break?
This pipe was installed in 1973. Generally, when I-65 was constructed, this pipe was put in along with that construction. And the pipe is a bit unusual. It's called PCCP pipe. It's pre-stressed concrete cylinder pipe. And it's the kind of pipe we don't use anymore. It was installed in the 70s and 80s because at the time it was a little bit more inexpensive to put in the ground. And we're finding that it has a propensity for failure like this. So as we replace transmission mains, we don't replace it with this type material. We put in ductile iron. So that's why it fails. Generally, it's because of corrosion. But we don't know what caused this specific failure because we haven't had time to get in there and look at it yet.
Was this on your radar that this could be old, we need to do something about it?
Well, 1973 isn't really old for us. We've got pipe in the ground that's much older than that, but we don't have pre-stressed pipe in the ground that's much older than that. So as we go forward with infrastructure renewal, we are replacing this kind of pipe with ductile iron. It's just one of those things that we've got 2,900 miles of pipe. It's going to take time to get it all out of the ground.
So you said you were working on how to get people water, of course. So this is a temporary fix. What is the long-term solution?
A redundant non-PCC pipe coming out of that pump station, and that's actually in the capital plan.
So once you get this fixed tomorrow, are people assured that they're going to have water back to normal and that this temporary thing should work until you guys get a long-term solution?
We, with the conservation tonight and with these valves being opened here and with these two pump stations being installed on a temporary basis, we've got one pump station here at Estes Road at the intersection of Winmont and Estes that still is feeding this pump station. This service area, it's just not as, it doesn't have the same capacity as Thompson Lane. So we do have water going in, we just don't have the same volume. So that's why we need to have the use go down so we can balance it out a little bit better.
Yeah, but once you get this temporary thing up, is it going to work long-term until we get another long-term solution?
Well, we're going to repair this pipe. And then, like I said, the redundant transmission main coming out of the pump station is in the capital plan, and we'll look at accelerating that since we have a history of failure on it now.
Realistically, how long will that take
Will what take?
the long-term plan?
The long-term plan.
Fix the
No,
pipe.
to fix the pipe that broke.
Okay.
The pipe that broke.
We've got to get the pipe replacement piece in town first. We've got to get the site excavated. As you can well imagine, the ground is pretty well saturated, so it's going to take a little bit of time to excavate it safely. And then once we get the pipe in, it takes about 24 hours to replace it, and then we've got to test it. And then we've got to work with TDEC to make sure that we have our testing protocols in line properly. But so it'll take several days. I really don't know exactly how long it's going to take. That's why we're focusing on the short-term fix right now to ensure we maintain service. So once we get the irrigation knocked out and the temporaries in, we should be pretty good to go.
And then you'll focus on the long-term solution?
The long-term solution being the installation of the new main, yes.
So you're saying, just to recap, I want to make sure I got you. You're asking people not to irrigate tonight.
Right.
As of tomorrow, do you have a time frame tomorrow when these temporary things might be in place?
We're going to do this again tomorrow at 9 o'clock, and I'll tell you where we are. Hopefully,
You mean tomorrow at 9 a.m.?
yes, tomorrow at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. here.
Yeah.
And then we'll be able to brief you about where we are. And then, but really, for the next couple of days, I would ask people just to not irrigate because I think that's smart. And it's really, it's not going to be as hot in the next couple of days as it could be in July. So I'm just asking people to just shut them off for a while, and then maybe we can accelerate the repair. But from my perspective, drinking water, fire protection, and being able to flush your toilets takes priority over irrigation.
And you think all those, in theory, at this point, could be as close to normal as possible
By tomorrow morning, if we get all the valves opened and the pump stations installed and people don't irrigate, we should be better than we are right now.
And tonight, for people who are headed home, keep it simple with water?
I think drinking, bathing, and cooking, just don't irrigate. Don't pick tonight to wash your car. Don't pick tonight to irrigate your lawn. If you own a golf course, don't irrigate the whole thing. That sort of thing. Just be wise in your water use in this affected area, for the next couple of days. I want to stress that outside the yellow area, the system is normal. We just have this one very unlucky location of a break that cascaded into the other pump stations. Yes, ma'am.
How do you
miles of this old type of pipe do you estimate are still in existence in Davidson County?
Well, we've got 2,909 miles of pipe in the system, and we've got 29 miles of PCCP pipe.
Sorry, how many?
29. So it's, the bad news is, from our perspective, that the pre-stressed pipe is larger diameter, so it's harder to replace and it's more expensive to replace. We do replace the transmission mains with ductile iron when we do it. So we're in the process of replacing it. It just takes time.
Do you have a process for inspecting these pipes, or are they just underground?
Yeah, that's one of the problems with water pipes is they're buried, so you really can't visually inspect them. And the technology to inspect them from inside is not the best. So whenever we have opportunity, we have an excavation, we certainly take a look. But most of the knowledge about the status of this type of pipe is historical, and you really can't pinpoint where the corrosion is going to occur.
And then the handout says that this temporary fix may not serve higher elevation.
That's we wanted to put that in because if you live in Oak Hill, Forest Hills, and you're on top of the hill, and maybe your third floor shower isn't going to be working as well as you would like. So as you go up the elevation, your available pressure is going to go down until we get the permanent fix in place, which is fixing the pipe.